Good morning, should I say, and thank you all for joining us from the beautiful west side of San Antonio. I'm your host, Joe Garcia, and I'll be talking all things Spurs, NBA, and boxing with our special guest here. It's going to be the one, the only, the infamous Spurnandez. So we're gonna go ahead and bring him on now. What's up, dude?
Hey, what's good? What's good? What's going on, my man? Appreciate you having me.
Yeah, man, always like always, dude. Hey, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna kind of talk about, a post that came out here, and I'm showing it here on screen right now, and it's like that my SA votes,
I
with
saw
my
that. Yeah, I
SA,
saw that. I saw
they
that.
have
Yeah.
that article that always comes out, or the favorites, SA favorites, and fans vote on these things, and
Right,
they're
right, right.
saying that the fans have voted that Las Palapas here in San Antonio is voted number one when it comes to breakfast tacos. Man, I don't know about that. I think that's a reach. And I think Bill Millers might have something to say about it. And I'm not saying that Bill Millers is like the best either, but I'm just saying, I mean, when it comes to breakfast tacos, there's a lot better options out there than Las Palapas.
Yeah, man. I mean, again, man, Las Palapas ain't bad, right? But like you said, and of course, these are all subjective, man. Hell, I think the best tacos are my grandma's in her kitchen. You know what
Hey,
I'm saying? So I guarantee you, everybody in San Antonio can attest to that, right? They're probably growing up, their grandma's tacos on a Saturday morning when your parents dropped you off or whatnot was probably the best. That was the best for me, right? But again, everybody gonna have their opinion. No disrespect to Las Palapas. But yeah, number one, I don't know about that.
yeah,
Uh, and you know what? The number one is probably some little mom and pop shop that we don't need, that most people don't know about.
hey,
If
man,
we're being real,
the picnic gas station, they got some
yeah.
pretty nice tacos, bro.
So, it's tucked away somewhere where you might get shanked, but hey, it might be worth. It'll be worth it for them tacos.
Yeah. Oh, hold up, man. I'm gonna bounce off real quick, okay? Just to get Leha in here.
Okay.
All right, I bounced it off real quick just to bring my boy Chris Leha on the show, man. Leha, you with us, man?
Yeah, what's good? What's good?
Hey, what's
What's up,
good,
big
homie?
dog?
Say, so we're talking about best breakfast tacos in San Antonio. So our good friend over here, Puffy D over here, he had put out an article. He retweeted an article from My San Antonio where they're saying that Las Palapas was voted by the viewers as the number one breakfast taco here in San Antonio, dude. I don't know about that, dude.
So, did they pull up to the north side to get these fucking people to
Taste
vote?
of the North Side? No, dude.
I guess, dude, because there's no fucking way in hell with La Palapas is number one. I say that much. Shit. I know. I saw Campos posted on Twitter. He'd rather go to picnic. I agree.
Hey,
I'd rather go to picnic, bro. 2 for 1. Shit.
picnic, dude. That's where it's at. That gas station. If you know, you know. You know.
If you know, and if you don't know, I'm sorry about you. You missed out on on some good
Yeah.
food.
So I got to ask you, man, and I'm going to ask Fernandez too, because he's San Antonio native as well. Chris, where is your go-to in the mornings when you're going to go get a breakfast taco and you want something good? It's greasy, maybe. Take away la cruda. Where you going, man?
Me personally, man. So there's a couple of spots around my house that I like to hit up. There's a place called Mama's Cafe right
Mama's
there on
Cafe.
Hildebrand. Yeah, on
Okay.
Hildebrand. And then if depending on where I'm going, on what side of town I'm going to, I'll hit up that, or I'll hit up San Luis Cafe on
San Luis
West
Cafe.
Avenue.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a couple different spots, man. You gotta remember, I'm always on the road, so
Yeah.
sometimes these restaurants don't open till 6:30, and
Yeah, I got you.
I'm already out and about.
Yeah.
And if worst comes to worst, and I can't hit up a mom and pop shop, and I got to hit up somewhere a little more established. If I hit up Bill Miller's, I ain't getting no egg and sausage. None. I'm getting brisket tacos, and that's it.
Hey, dog, I'm telling you, bro. That brisket egg and cheese, the brisket egg and cheese is the move,
Yeah,
dog.
then they slap the potatoes on top, or they slap the fucking sausage in there, or
Yeah.
the bacon, and I like my shit all mixed up together, man.
Hey,
You know what I'm
Chris.
saying?
Fernandez says that brisket, egg, and cheese is where it's at, man.
Brisket bean cheese. Me personally, man, that's the one I like to get is the brisket bean cheese.
All right. All right.
And then every now and then I'll get the carne asada with cheese. Just depends, man, because sometimes they're skimpy as hell when it comes to their shit, man.
You're going to skip it with the carne guisada?
Yeah, they need to let Rick go back in there and train him on proper etiquette when it comes to making tacos, man.
Proper taco etiquette.
Yeah. You know, they got
There you go.
Right. Jesus, man. I gotta eat good.
Yeah. No.
Hey, man, I gotta get back in those kitchens, dog. I gotta get back in that kitchen and train them, man.
Once I voted them to be number one.
Yeah, man. That my SA thing is always, I think, is just a scam, dude. They already know, have their favorites, have their own winners, you know, and they just go ahead and act like the fans have a chance, like they're going ahead and having the swaying the vote left or right. But I think it's already all predetermined, man. I don't think this is really anything other than just out there for, you know, clickbait, clout, that kind of stuff, man. But it's all good.
You can make a post on Twitter right now, man, and you can put, you know, 4 different options, and I promise you can put Las Palapas as the 4th one, and they ain't coming in first, second, or third. They're coming in dead last.
There's no good. If you put Las Palapas or you put Bill Miller's, people are gonna be hombre, dude. But they're gonna put up their favorite little go-to mom and pop shops, you know, or like Spurnandez said, Rick right here. He's like, hey, you know, and you too. Some of the best tacos, man, are gonna be just in your abuelita's, you know, kitchen. That's man. Right. There you go. You know, it's the best spot.
If it's not a little old Mexican lady making tortillas in the back, I ain't trying to go.
For real, man. Hey, but I want to say thanks for giving us some of your time, because I know you're busy out there. You're laying down that diamond hard concrete, man.
Yeah, man. We're actually getting ready right now to pour in a job up here in Bernie. So we're gonna get the pump ready and wait for this concrete to show up and put this mud down on the ground here in a little bit.
All right, man. We'll appreciate you, man, for giving us some of your time. We'll let you go, brother.
Yeah, take care, big dog. Appreciate you having me on, bro.
Yeah, man. Later. Yeah, man. So we just wanted to bring Chris on real quick just to go ahead and give his take on who he thought had the best breakfast tacos. But again, this is the hardest working man that I know, man. He's out there laying that diamond hard concrete out there. And the thing is, I forget to tell you, Spurnandez, I think you can hear him, but he can't hear you because of the way.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay. I kind of picked up on that because he wasn't really responding. So I figured he could. Okay. All good. Yeah. Much love to Chris.
Oh, yeah. No doubt, man. So one of the things we're going to also talk about here is we're going to talk about Tony Parker, man. Tony Parker, I just saw put up a house for sale, man. And this is something that, you know, Spurs fans, if you want to go ahead and get out there and maybe buy a Tony Parker's home, you can go out there and get it. It can be had for the low price of 16.5 mil, you know?
Hey, we could put our money together, dog. You know what I'm saying? And
go fund me.
Have a big Spurs party house, man. You know,
that would actually be something, man.
Imagine that's a reality show. You know, remember those reality shows where like they would put people in houses and, you know, Real World or whatever crap. Imagine a reality show like that. It's like Spurs Twitter, all the sides and the factions and who doesn't like this and who has their opinion and who knows the future and all this craziness, right? And then you throw them in a house, right? You know, and you throw them in Tony Parker's old house or something. You know, that's a reality show right there.
For real, man. But I mean, his house is for sale. It's on an estate that covers about 53 acres. And, you know, it's over there in I guess in Aquina Springs Ranch community over in Bernie, dude. Yeah. So it was off the market for, I think, 2 years. And now he's finally putting it back on the market. That's a high asking price, but it's a nice home, man. I'm not going to lie. It looks beautiful, dude. I mean,
for sure.
It's like a water park, like somebody had said right now, Chris Gonzalez, because he has like these slides and all that stuff in the back.
I mean, it's like a resort, man. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's no shit, its own resort, you know.
But 16.5 mil, dude. I'm just like, damn.
Yeah, that's a lot, bro. That's a lot. Yeah,
even for you, the big ballers here, you know, like
hey, that's a little bit over retail value.
Yeah, so we're gonna talk about something else here too, man. One thing that I know is near and dear to you know, Chicana Fuerte's heart here, you know, her boy. It was announced that Zach Collins.
I know, man.
And he came down with an injury, bro.
I know. I saw that. It's tough, man. You know, all jokes aside, I mean, I know we all, you know, or some, you know, like to clown on Zach and all that kind of stuff. Hell, even my son got on here last week and said, you know, Zach was trash. But you know, all jokes aside, that's a tough, man. It's a tough thing for the kid. You got to remember, man. You got to, you know, he was a lottery pick, right? Back in the Portland days. And then Chicana Fuerte said we could use your VA to buy Tony's house. Yeah, right. I use my VA loan to buy that. Yeah, no, real talk. Like, it's a tough break. It's a tough break because, like I said, you got to remember the dude was a lottery pick for Portland. And then he got hurt and he was out for a long time, man. And then, like, honestly, like, yeah, it's tough, man. And again, you got to take things in perspective. I got it. He's got a lot to he leaves a lot to desire on the court, and to put it nicely. But you also got to look at, and he was out for a year or however long he was out. Like, it's almost amazing that he's come back from the injuries that he has to be where he's at. So, I mean, it's a tough break to hear that he's going down with another injury. It's one of those, it's affecting his career. You know what I mean? All the injuries are plaguing him, unfortunately.
And some of these comments, dude, freaking hilarious, dude. Look at Chris Gonzalez.
Yeah.
Do they take food stamps for Tony's house?
Yeah, right. EBT.
Oh,
yeah.
Only money back with that house. I think that's above his pay grade too, man. That's
yeah. Might be above all of our pay grades.
Zach definitely needs me now that she's gonna do the sana with him.
Yeah. She wants some Vicks and all that stuff,
No, but I saw Michael's Scuttle. He put this out there, and San Antonio Spurs, Zach Collins, underwent an MRI in San Antonio, and they confirmed he has a torn labrum in his right shoulder. And that's what the team said. And he's scheduled for surgery. So I remember seeing this too on Spurs Nation. I know Spurs Nation put this out on the X, and they put Zach Collins suffered a torn labrum in his right shoulder, per the Spurs. And they said the injury occurred with 10 minutes and 50 seconds left in the third quarter of the season finale. So of all things, man, that insult to injury, you get injured on the last damn game of the season, man. Like,
I know, man.
Coach Bob just should have just sat the dude down. I mean, you weren't going out there. You weren't going to win anything, Let the brother sit on the bench, dude. Limit the minutes, sit him on the bench, let him get some rest. Put somebody else in there, get one of the young bucks some run. But nonetheless, I mean, he's injured again, and they say that he should be ready and healed up by the time the start of the season is going to get going per next season. I don't know if he's going to be ready to go for training camp and all that, but either way, man, you don't like to see anybody get injured. So we wish him the best and wish him a speedy recovery, man. But we have a lot of Wemby to get into, man, as we start talking about this.
Yeah.
Wemby had an interview with The Ringer, and he said a lot of things in that interview. I mean, it's been going all over social media. I've seen excerpts from the interview being put on Insta. They've been putting them out on X, everywhere, man. So we got to start talking about this. But before we do, we're going to go ahead and, give some love out to one of our guys that's always been there for us. And that's going to be Jeff Garcia from Locked On Spurs. Locked On Spurs is your daily Spurs podcast hosted by Jeff Garcia, the lead Spurs writer for Ken's 5 San Antonio. Jeff has a healthy plethora of guests all the time on the Locked On Spurs podcast. You can also follow Jeff on Threads at Jeff G Ken's 5 SA. You can also follow Jeff on Twitter at Jeff G Spurs Zone. So make sure you go ahead and give Jeff a follow not only on Threads and Twitter, but also on YouTube at youtube.com/@LockedOnSpurs. This is where you're going to be able to find the replay of the Locked On Spurs podcast. Make sure to like, subscribe, and share. And we want to talk about what Jeff Garcia just put out here on his X. You can go follow Jeff again at Jeff G Spurs Zone. And Jeff went ahead and put this out there. I saw this when I was looking for articles and whatnot, what we're going to be talking about. So the Spurs' very own Victor Wembanyama had an NBA Top Shot NFT, and it sold for $145,000. And that's that virtual. These are like virtual trading cards. I've been surprised because I thought NFTs were already done. I thought the fad came and went, but apparently it's still a thing. And this particular NFT went for that high asking price of $145,000. This is the equivalent of, like, say a sports card, for card collecting and whatnot, going for that price. But this is digital. I mean, would you pay $145,000 for this, dude?
I mean, that ain't my thing, man. That definitely ain't my thing.
Can you imagine how much more other things you could buy with $145,000? I mean, come on, man.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's insane.
Rudy Gonzalez. What about Jimenez and his W-2s? They're referring to the Tony Parker house.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Oh,
yeah, for
God.
sure. Yeah,
Oh, but anyway, man, that's a high asking price for that.
yeah,
145 grand. I would not pay 145 grand for something that's virtual, dude. It's not tangible. You can't hold it in your hand. I mean,
right.
what
Yeah,
happens if NFTs just go out of style and you paid 145 grand for what? You
right.
know, is it something that
Yeah,
even if this NBA Top Shot goes defunct, is this going to be something that you're still going to be able to have and have access
right.
to? I don't know, man.
Yeah, it's never. Yeah, yeah. That's a big investment for something that's pretty volatile, right? You
For a
don't know.
maybe, for a
Mhm.
maybe.
Yeah. Well, again, somebody that puts that kind of money into that probably has the, that's an, money topics about money and like we were talking about the Tony Parker house and this thing, right? It's interesting, right? Because it's pretty relative, right? We're looking at it from the lens of our normal people eyes,
Yeah.
right? Obviously, it's equivalent to like, you know, buying tickets to a Spurs game that are like, I don't know, 300 a piece or 400 a piece or 500 a piece or 1,000 a piece, whatever. Somebody might be like, that's insane. Like I would never do that. Right. And we might say, hey, it's my birthday. It's a once in a lifetime. I want to sit on the floor seat and I'm going to buy, $800 tickets or whatever. So it's relative, right?
Yeah.
Somebody who's going to buy Tony Parker's home or buy that virtual thing, it is probably a multi-millionaire where 100K to them is about,
20 bucks.
about a grand or whatever. So, you know what I'm saying? It's relative, right? So, it's one of those things where, we're looking at it through different lenses, that's kind of the way I put it, because somebody might say, man, spending, $100 on something is a lot, right? It's relative. So,
And Chris Gonzalez says people pay 50 grand for a potato chip that looks like Elvis. Hey, man, the beauty is in the eye of the beholder,
right, exactly. Beauty is in the eye of the beer holder.
Yeah, for real, dude. You stacking them cups like my boy Spurnandez, man. You got those
Hey,
deep
that's what I'm
pockets.
saying.
Hey,
I'm telling you, bro, you gotta stack them. You gotta stack them cups, man. That's what's always funny to me about the stacking cup thing is like once in a while people will like, everyone's like, that's crazy, right? Like they're like, that's insane. Like you're stacking the cups or it's a lot or whatever. But in a cup, sometimes people will throw out like a dollar figure to be like, man, is that like 200 or like how much is that? Or like they kind of start to try to figure it out or whatever. And it's just funny. But
yeah. But we're gonna move on here. We talked about the NFT, and go make sure you check that out over there at what Jeff G Spurs Zone at Jeff Garcia is doing. So you can follow him on the X. But we're gonna talk about this little excerpt here from the infamous Wembanyama interview. This I saw on NBA Central. Like I said, searching through things, over the X and all that. And it says Victor Wembanyama says he's already received messages from players waiting to join forces with him. So is this collusion? I mean,
I saw that. I saw that. I mean, that doesn't surprise me one bit. I mean, I think again, this day and age of players, that wouldn't happen in like back in the Jordan Bird days and Jet Magic. Rich would spend 50K on a China Rose sign. That's facts. That's big facts. These joining forces. You got to like think about it, right? Remember, Jordan couldn't get past the Pistons for the longest time, right? Bad boy Pistons. You remember that? So
Yeah.
Jordan was like constantly trying to get past them. I never once was probably ever crossed his mind to be like, hey, let me join them. You know what I mean? And win championships, right? Same thing goes for like the Celtics and the Bird and Magic days where they were just battling each other back and forth. I don't think they ever thought like, hey, let's just join up and play, right? Nowadays I think it's just more common for star players to say, hey, let's join together. And they reach out to each other. And, it used to be like, hey, the GM or the management kind of, hey, you get traded, this is where you're going to go or whatever the case would be. Now, a lot of players are taking that stuff into their own hands, which, positives and negatives, I guess. But it doesn't surprise me one bit that players are reaching out to Wemby saying, hey, I want to play with you. Which, of course, of course, they want to play with them, but of course, they have to make it work through management and through whatever the case would be. So, I remember people saying like, "Oh, no star will ever want to come to San Antonio." Like San Antonio's, this, that, and the third. I mean, even when we were like getting ready to land Wemby, people were still saying like, no star would ever come to San Antonio. Again, it goes back to these people who talk in like an absolute where they know for a fact that things are, or they know the future, right? So
Yeah.
I heard people saying like, there's no way a star will come to San Antonio. None. They don't want to play here. The nightlife sucks, or they talk all this
Incentive
crazy
for
stuff.
them. Yeah.
Yeah. And most of them don't even live in San Antonio, which is kind of funny to me because, but um, again, you see a guy like Wemby, a star player, a Luka, even a Giannis down the road. It wouldn't shock me that they say, "Hey, I want to play with Wemby." You know what I mean? I want to join forces because this is like a once in a lifetime chance to do something amazing for the next 10 years or whatever the case may be. So it doesn't surprise me one bit that he's getting reached out to and saying, "Hey, I want to play with you."
And this free agency is going to be coming up too, and the Spurs, this is going to be a critical juncture for them in free agency.
Mhm.
They're either going to stand pat and do absolutely nothing and just be like, we're going to run it back. Maybe we'll go ahead and take our chances in the draft, or they're going to go ahead and surround Wemby with some bucket getters, maybe some players
Mhm.
that can actually make some buckets, shoot some threes, get some mid-range jumpers going, help open that floor spacing a little bit for him, allow him to work a little bit more inside the paint, so we can only hope, but him already saying that he's receiving these messages from interested parties, that says something, like you said, where everybody has the stigma, that nobody wants to come play for San Antonio because it's a losing team. They have a losing record. I think what's happening is that a change, a shift is happening, and they're
Yeah.
starting to see that, hey, San Antonio has this kid who's a generational talent right now,
Mhm.
one Victor Wembanyama, and they're interested to see if maybe that duo, that team up with him,
Yes.
can
Yes.
actually help this team and propel them to greatness. Because I think right now the Spurs are on the cusp of making that leap, kind of like the Rockets did from being a very
Mhm.
poor team to now it looks like they're starting to figure some things out because they've added some veterans to the team along with
Mhm.
their younger players, and now they've won a lot more games than they have in the past. I think the same thing can happen with the Spurs, but of course you're going to have to pair Wemby with some other pieces. So interesting nonetheless that Wemby said that he's already getting those messages from interested parties. Oh,
Yeah.
John Dyer. Nah, the Rockets suck. Hey, the Rockets have a better record than the Spurs because they have a better talent out there, as far as their team goes. The Spurs are still lacking in that department, and it's a hard pill to swallow at times. And I don't like the Rockets. I'm not a Rockets fan. I'm just calling it as it is.
Well, what I will say is the Rockets spent a lot of money
They did.
and a lot of assets to what be 10th or 12th or whatever they are or whatever. I don't know if that's enough return on your investment. You know what I mean? I got it that they went from a worse record last year to now a better record, and they do have a better record than the Spurs. Obviously, I'm not big on like comparing like apples to oranges, to be honest with you, and that's what a lot of people do, right? People are gonna look and say, "Oh, the Thunder." I remember hearing Thunder and Memphis. Those are the models. Last year, I think people were in my mentions constantly. Memphis is the model, right? Ja and the way what they've done over there. And where are they now? You know what I'm saying? And then it was like, well, the Thunder and Sam Presti. And I know Presti has been with the Spurs and he was the architect to a lot of things. I got all that. But it was like the Thunder's the model. They're the model to go again. And no disrespect to the Thunder, they're doing well, but like they haven't won anything, man. Like I got it that right now they're the 1 seed.
They're hot right now.
I think they're hot right now. And again, people are very victim of the moment. It's like, oh well, yeah, the Thunder look. And no disrespect to what they've done. They've built a great team but until they win a championship, how are they a model to follow? Like I'm just saying, like, yeah, okay, follow their model and then like finally get to the 1 seed. And I mean, they're a shaky 1 seed. That's a whole nother story though. They're a pretty shaky 1 seed. These young teams, when they get to the point of a playoff basketball is a lot different than the regular season, right? You got teams like the Timberwolves and the Thunder that are, they have great records in the regular season, but
You have a lot of teams in the West that have gotten better than San Antonio because San Antonio hasn't had that shift, where they were in a full-on rebuild and, they
yeah,
had a lot of players that they dealt in trade in lieu of getting
yeah.
draft picks. So San Antonio is way behind, I think, in terms of looking at the other teams that are a lot better than them in the Western Conference. It's funny how that happens because I saw that happening for a while already, and you probably did too, where you were seeing the other teams that were below the Spurs at one point in time now leapfrogging the Spurs because they've been able to build up their teams with better talent.
Yeah, I mean, of course, I mean, and that's the thing. Like, all those teams have, as much as people want to talk trash about like GMs and management and whatever. Listen, all those teams have very smart and capable individuals running their organizations. Like some of these guys have law degrees and whatever the case may be. Now do you make bad decisions? Do you make bad choices? Of course. Do you gamble on something? Yes. Like, players don't pan out, right? Or hey, I've drafted so and so and I thought he was going to be a star, he wasn't. So it's just not. I know it's so simple for many on Twitter or on their couch or whatever to sit there and say, oh, well, they should do this and they should do that, and if I was a GM, I would do this. Bro, you wouldn't even know how to become a GM. Like you know what I mean? Like you don't even have the credentials to like ever get the job or get an interview as a GM. But you're sitting here talking about, if I was GM, this is what I would do, right? And Dyer made a good point on his. He says, hey, look, Wemby's a rare commodity. Can't follow anyone's blueprint. I agree with that. Yeah. I absolutely agree with that. There is no let's follow this blueprint. Like there really isn't. I think every
team's unique.
Of course. Yeah. I mean, and of course, teams. That's per the part of the course that teams are going to get better. Look at the Warriors, right? Warriors. I was just talking to my son about this, where I don't know, but it seems like the Warriors dynasty looks like it might be done. Players are going to get traded. We don't know. I don't know yet, but it seems like they've been on top forever. It's only been like a window of what, 5 years or however long years. Like, and I know that sounds like a lot, but it really isn't, in the grand scheme of things. But the Spurs had 20 years of excellence and all that. And I'm not trying to rest on past laurels, but I'm just trying to. People act like it's so easy to just build teams and win championships and always compete for the playoffs every year in, year out. It really isn't that easy, obviously. And the Spurs did it for so long, right? And of course, they haven't, been in the playoffs in 5 years. I think 2019 was the last time they were in the playoffs. That Denver series where they took them to 7 games, right? That was the start of like Denver and Joker and all that. So again, man, in the grand scheme of things, of 20 years of excellence, 5 years of non-playoffs, and we're going to go back on an uptake with Wemby and what's going on here. I think we're going to look back on this and be like, it really wasn't as bad as we thought it was going to be. The sky is always falling for Spurs people on Twitter or whatever. But we'll see.
Yeah, I think the Spurs are going to, like I said, they're in that critical juncture where they're going to either do something this offseason and make some moves, or they're going to stand pat, run it back again, and see what they got in the younger players, and maybe wait another season to do something. I mean, next year's draft's supposed to be better than this season, but we keep hearing that narrative spun a lot of times. Oh, this year's draft is not going to be any good. Oh, next year's draft is going to be better. Yeah. And then what happens? The year after that, oh, this is a weak draft again. We keep hearing that over and over. But regardless of if it's a weak draft, a deep draft, it doesn't matter. Spurs are more than likely, if they get a higher pick, hopefully that pick will be ready to be inserted and get some minutes and not be delegated to the Austin Spurs, because Spurs don't have that luxury of just keeping players in the Austin G League over there anymore, because they're not a very good team. You have to just throw them in the fire. Let's see what you got in these young players, get them that experience, and hopefully they can come in here and make a difference and make the team better. So that's what I'm looking forward to as a fan, is what's going to happen in the years ahead. Because I think that we're going to see Wemby's third year and fourth year are going to be a lot better, and the team's going to be much improved by then, because a lot of the younger pieces as well, they're going to get that experience, and they're going to be able to produce at a higher level, at a higher clip. So it's a process, man. You got to trust that process, even though it's hard to swallow at times, as being lifelong Spurs fans. We want to see the team get better, but it doesn't happen overnight. It's a process, where Spurs fans say in the past, built, not bought. Well, if it's going to be built, not bought, you got to trust the process. You're going to have to go through a couple of losing seasons to get there,
Yeah.
I think
I saw
there you go.
Sam Salinas said something interesting, and it says the Atlanta unprotected pick. Sam Salinas put, the Atlanta unprotected pick looks pretty good for 2025. That's true. I was just, my sons and I were talking about this. You got to think about that, right? Like if that 2025 pick, that's another number one, or that's another unprotected pick, and the Atlanta's looking like they could be in shambles. In theory, that could be another, for sure, lottery pick. It could be another top 3 pick, which is crazy. I mean, I know, and it's hard to look. No one wants to wait that long, and I get all this, and I get all that. I'm just saying, like, those, whether they're trade assets, whether they're going to draft, those are all pieces and part of this whole puzzle. And it's going to be interesting this year, right? The picks, if the Spurs land a top 5 pick, the Toronto pick, depending on how that shakes out. The whole this is a weak draft thing, like if it's a weak draft, then it's a weak draft for everybody. Like you know what I mean? It's not just the Spurs. Like so, I don't really buy that either. Like the draft, the players are the players that are there. Like you can only draft the players that are out that year or whatever the case would be. Yes, there's years that other drafts have like talent that are supposed to be talent. That's another thing. We talk about these are experts, pundits that are telling us it's a weak draft, right? And are wrong a lot of times. You know what I mean? And sometimes they're right. Don't get me wrong. But what I'm saying is, just like we got told, hey, so-and-so is going to be a star one day, whatever, and they don't pan out. Or it's a weak draft, and then somebody comes out of nowhere, and you're like, wow. So, you got the picks. This year, you got to use them. I'm interested to see, what they're going to do as far as picks, as far as free agents.
They have the money to do something, so that's what I think our hope is as Spurs fans, is that something will get done to make the team at least better. I mean, you saw Shetty, for example, saying in the X on Twitter, or on social media, should I say, saying that he'd like to come back. He thinks he found a home here in San Antonio. He likes playing with the guys, his teammates. He likes being here in the city. He likes the fan base and everything, likes Coach Pop. And he says it's really a business decision at the end of the day, and they're going to see if they'll, welcome him back. But somebody had asked, what pieces are going to get better in the next few years? Well, you have Dominic Barlow, you have Blake Wesley, you have
City Sissoko.
I mean, you can see what happens with those types of players to see if they do pan out and they do flourish as maybe some moving parts here that can be surrounded with Wemby to make the team a little bit better. We don't really know what we have quite yet. We're still very raw. And I think that's the enigma right here, is that it's a let's see what happens kind of thing,
Yeah. Well, and people are saying things, like my man Sid is saying talent doesn't always transfer from college to the NBA. That's true, right? Dyer said, we're not going to know until later if this is a weak draft. And I agree with that, right? Those are things in hindsight. You'll look back and say, oh, this was a strong draft. This is a weak draft. Predicting that it's a weak or strong draft is just a prediction that people have. Like we all, you know what I mean? So you can't really base yourself on that, or, it's a tough thing. But yeah, it's interesting to see that and the thought that goes into it. And again, I know a lot of people give like Brian Wright a lot of crap for instance, right? It's a team of folks. Like you got to also people act like Brian Wright is sitting there by himself making these decisions. Yeah. And no other input from nobody. Like there is a team and a staff of like assistant GMs, and you know what I'm saying? Like I don't know what kind of jobs. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what kind of jobs people have out there in the world. I'm just saying to myself, right? Like I don't know anybody who's like, even if you're a CEO of a company, like you have input from your staff and your folks, and you'd be silly not to listen to them or whatever. Board members, right? So people have this notion that like Pop or Brian Wright or whoever is sitting there just like pushing buttons and making his own decision and is like, I don't care. No, it's a team of people. So I mean, again, they get them right, they get them wrong. But here's the thing: as a leader of an organization, and this is one thing I always say: if it goes wrong, it's on me. I'm the leader. I have to take it and own it and say, you know what, this went wrong. Even if my staff gave me the suggestions, I'm not going to sit there and throw my staff under the bus and be like, hey, my staff told me to do it and it went wrong. Like I'm not, as a leader, you don't do that, right? You take it and say, you know what, I'm the leader of anything that happens or fails to happen is on me as the leader, right? Yeah. But you have a staff of people, and you have folks that are there, and so. These things get vetted. It's just funny to me when I hear people say stuff like that. You know what I mean? And I'm not sitting here acting like Brian Wright is the best GM ever. Like I'm not. I'm not a Brian Wright, cheerleader. I'm not. I'm just saying it's apologist. Yeah. It's just it's. I think I thought RC was a great GM. You know what I mean? RC did a lot of good things. Pop, president of ops. There's a lot of stuff that goes on there, and there's some missteps. There's wrong choices. There's Luka, Samic. There's missteps. Primo, I mean,
Richard Jefferson.
Yeah, man, I remember when Richard Jefferson came, I was excited because I was remembering his Nets days, right? Like I was like, okay, man, that was a big free agency signing right back in the day, and then it just kind of was whatever. But it's just interesting, it's funny hearing people's comments about what they would do if they were the GM
Everybody wants
or
to
what
fire
should
Popovich.
everybody. Yeah, and it's these sides of it's this side of Twitter. I've already lost track of people have broken up the factions into so many different there's age categories. There's are
Rudy's
you
killing me, dude. Rudy's killing me with this comment.
Bob Bass? Yeah,
Better
Bob
than
Bass.
fireman.
Yeah, yeah.
If you know, you
uh,
know, man. Come on.
oh yeah, old school, bro. Old school. Hey, they hired Tarkanian back in the day, right? Rest his soul, right? Remember that? They hired Tarkanian and thought he was gonna come in. He got
That was a
fired
mistake.
like 10 games into the season or something like that,
Yeah.
Uh, um, you know, I don't know. You know what it's funny that our boy Rudy is talking about Bob Bass and the old school stuff. You know, one thing that I always think about, in 1995, when the Spurs were the number one seed and David Robinson was the MVP and they lost to the Rockets, right? Unfortunately, in 6 games, right?
Yeah.
Had they won that series, and again, this is all what ifs. Had they
Theoretically.
won that, yeah, theoretically, had they won that series, they would have went and smoked the young Shaq and Magic, just like the Rockets did. And now, they would have won a championship. I don't know how things would have panned out, right? Would Pop have fired? The coach that had already, Bob Hill. There you go. Had Pop would Pop have given Bob Hill a little bit more, leash because he had won a championship in '95, and I don't know. It's just interesting to think about that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Well, one of the things we're going to do now that we've kind of, talked about that, now we're going to kind of transition a little bit, talk about Wemby's interview and some of the excerpts from
Yeah.
the interview. We're going to go ahead and share this. I saw it on Clutch Sports, and it says basically there's something Kevin Durant does. Wemby was saying as he held the microphone, he said where he stops, and that's enough to take advantage of the defender. He's got that. He's got the KD timing. Victor Wembanyama is on a move, and he would, download information or look at other players and say, I'm going to acquire this, and I want to go ahead and put that in my offensive weapons, So
Yeah.
let's see what he said, man. It was interesting.
If you could download a move from another player into your mind, what would that move be?
It would be like there's something Katie does. I don't know if you ever noticed, but like everything he does, even off ball, there's like this one. It's not really a hesitation because it's so quick, but like this one microsecond where he stops, and that's enough to like take advantage of the defender because he doesn't really sprint ever, but he just moves very quick, and he's got that KD timing, I call it, like on every one of his movement, and it's once I've noticed it, it's become flagrant, but it's so hard. I trying to do it, but I'm gonna work on it this summer, but it's so hard to do.
If you could download
That was pretty cool. Like he sees
That is cool.
little things inside the game from another player that another player is adding into their game. That's smart. And he's like, hey, I want to try that,
Yeah, you know what's amazing, and he just turned 20, but he's a student of the game, right? He's he's a very active thinker, and he's a student of the game, and he sees these things like he's talking about, right? These minor things that most people don't pick up on, right? Like your average untrained eye. So that's what's the greats are like that, right? That he picks up on these little things and these minor little steps, and you could see the things that Wemby does where you're like, wow, like he does all these small things that are just, and I feel like the game slows down to great players like that. Like they see it in slow motion. They see it's like chess pieces. They see things happening before they happen, like 3, 4, 5 moves ahead. And this is we keep saying this is the worst we're ever going to see Wemby. Like wrap your head around that. Like this season was the worst quote unquote season we will see Wemby, and it was phenomenal. So it's kind of scary, man. To be honest with you, like I'm telling you right now, like other teams that it's scary to, like I said, man. If players, if you're a star player who you're thinking like maybe like a Luka, like I said, for instance, a Luka Doncic. I don't know. Dallas, I'll tell you, Dallas is a little sneaky in these playoffs. They could pull some upsets, but if he doesn't win anything, maybe down the road he says, "Hey, he got the European flavor. Let me go team up with Wemby," something like that. You never know. But it's just it's scary to think of for other teams, and it's a beautiful thing for us to think about.
Yeah, and here's another thing that I'm going to show on the screen real quick here too. I saw this on Clutch Points, just going and scrolling through the X, and a reporter was asking Chet Holmgren, uh, you know, he's done staggering things. Do you think he was asking Chet Holmgren, do you think you could be defensive player of the year? Should you be defensive player of the year? And it was interesting the response from Chet Holmgren. He kind of says, I feel that that's a loaded question. He goes that they're both having great years, good seasons, and he says that he thinks that the voting is in the eye of the beholder. He says they'll go ahead and look at our records, one's winning, one's not. And he was just kind of being I guess very politically correct in his response,
Mhm.
not over trying to oversell himself or trying to downplay what Wemby's done. I think he had a very good response, a very thought out and very smart response to what the reporter was asking him. And he was just saying, hey, we both had great records, regardless if he wins Defensive Player of the Year or not, or Wemby does. Can't take away
Rookie of the year, right? You're talking about rookie of the year.
He says they both have had good seasons this year. So, if they feel like he deserves to be Rookie of the Year, they'll vote in his favor. They feel like it's going to be Wemby's, they'll vote in his favor, is basically what he was saying. So I thought that was a very good response from, Chet Holmgren, because he could have taken the other side of things and say, oh, no, despite, what he's doing over there, my team has the winning record and we're moving on, going to the playoffs. He was just saying, hey, man, I want to give Wemby his roses because Wemby's proved, hey, the disparity of, it should be Chet. It should be Chet. He put that to rest because he's put up numbers this year that no one can take away from Wemby. Even like the four-letter networks, ESPNs, and some of the other national media, they've recognized the greatness of Victor Wembanyama and what he's been able to do at his size, nonetheless, at a player at 7'4", and the way he moves and the way he changes the game because of his length inside the paint with his defense. I mean, it's amazing to see, but I did like that response. What did you think about, the response that Chet gave?
Yeah, no, it's funny, or it's just interesting that, if Victor Wembanyama doesn't exist, Chet is rookie of the year. Chet's a phenomenal player. Chet's a phenomenal player. Like we can't take that away from him. The dude has amazing skills, amazing talent. He's a really, really good player. He really is. But this world has an alien in it, and it's Wemby. So that's just the way of life sometimes. So, but again, the Thunder fans and the Chet fans are the ones who are clamoring and screaming about the record, and they'll try to find any stat, any different. Oh, he affected the game, and I
try to pick it apart.
They'll try to find any stat to say, oh, Chet over Wemby or whatever the case may be. I mean, at the end of the day, you're right. I think that was a good answer, a good humble answer, because I think he knows. I mean, as I'm being real, let's say like all was equal and both of them were like on the same numbers and they both had like the exact same years, then I think the record could be kind of a tiebreaker. If it was close, I'll give you that. I'll give you something to the effect of if it was close and they were like literally neck and neck and had nothing else to decipher, then maybe I would go record and say give it to Chet. But it's not even close. You know what I mean? Like I think that rookie of the year, hell, it's more of a discussion about defensive player of the year. You know what I mean? There's you had Kevin Garnett saying that he thought Wemby was rookie of the year, or I mean defensive player of the year. You had people on these networks who I take that stuff with a grain of salt too, because a lot of people complain whenever the big networks don't give the Spurs any love, and then the moment one of the big networks does say something, everybody's like, oh, you see, the ESPN just said Wemby is this. Like, so it's like. I try not to put too much stock.
Apologize to Wemby because he said, "Oh, Wemby's not going to be this, generational player."
Yeah.
And after he saw him and what he's done thus far into the season, he's like, "Got to apologize to Wemby. This dude is good,
Yeah. Well, and again, that goes back, just like the people on Spurs Twitter or wherever, where when you speak in absolutes and it doesn't happen, you have to come back and apologize and be like, "Oh, unless you have that DeLorean and that time machine, I don't know anyone who knows for a fact that this is going to happen or that's going to happen." But people talk that way, right? I see it all the time. People know for a fact this is going to happen. The Spurs are going to move to Austin. This is going to happen for a fact. I remember like a long time ago, it was like before they knew it was Wemby, it was like, even if the Spurs drafted the #1 pick, Pop would send him to the G League because that's all Pop ever will do. Like, that's not true. You know what I mean? But people talk in these absolutes that they know for a fact. this is what's going to happen, and then they have to come back and apologize and be like, "Oh yeah, I didn't mean that." Listen, none of us know. We can only assume and guess and talk in like hypotheticals. Like, hey, this may happen, that may happen, but I, I think the rookie of the year talk is dead. It's I think the talk is still defensive player of the year.
Yeah.
It,
I don't
again,
think
the
he's gonna
politics.
win it though, but
I mean, I don't think so either because of the politics and all that. And there's this
it's
stigma of
the
like, well, the
voting.
rookie, you can't give it. Yeah, it's the voting. Like again, you got media people voting. You got now. Chris Broussard said he voted for Wemby as defensive player of the year. So there's one vote for a fact. I think Wemby just getting votes to me is a testament to something. A rookie getting votes of defensive player of the year, even if he doesn't win, is pretty phenomenal. I think.
I think he's deserving of winning rookie of the year
Absolutely.
and defensive player of the year. But the problem is that
Yeah,
the
being
people
deserving and then the votes are two different things. You could
the
be
people
deserving doesn't mean you're
voting
going to
are
get it.
voting
Yeah,
in favor
I
of
agree.
Rudy Gobert, you know?
Hmm. Yeah,
So that's the
I think
disparity there.
I think if it was like the players voting or something, maybe it would be Wemby. You know, it depends, right? Unfortunately, with media and you have all these angles, and you have again, you have media people who maybe said something in the beginning and they don't want to go back on what they said, so they're gonna, you know what I mean? Like it's you know, it's a bunch of politics.
Hey,
There's a
let's
bunch of
go ahead
things
and
that go
share this
on.
excerpt here too that I saw. 'Cause it's just showing you how good of let's say a teammate Victor Wembanyama is. There's
Hmm.
this, article that came out. I think it's on the yardbarker.com. Yeah, it's on yardbarker.com.
I saw this. Yeah, I saw
It
that.
was written by Hardwood Heroics, by Paolo Sanko, And the thing is that they shared an excerpt here, and I believe it was with JJ Redick when he was talking on a podcast.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
what JJ Redick was saying is that he had insider information stating that there was when Wemby was over at, I guess, ACS, Alamo City Limits, over in
Mhm.
Austin, and
ACL. Yeah.
ACL, yeah. And basically, what they had there is that they had Drake there making an appearance or whatnot, and Drake had
Mhm.
invited Wemby, "Hey man, come up on stage, for my concert and all this," because he knew he was there. And the reason that Wemby didn't go and accept Drake's invitation, he rescinded it, is because he couldn't go up there with his whole team. He only wanted to go on stage if he had all his teammates involved. I mean, I'm sure he knew the impact of Drake and being up there, and what all that would do as far as putting him in the spotlight. And I think that was a good gesture to show that Wemby is very much a Spur. This is a very Spur-like move, something
Yeah.
that Tim Duncan would have done, or let's say
Right.
David Robinson would have done back in the day. Wemby is that guy. He's willing to do anything for his teammates. And it's like, hey, man, don't look on me. It's like, hey, I'm shining, but I'm not shining because it's just all me. I have some help because of my teammates. We're gonna win or lose as a team together,
Yeah.
So I like that, man. He's got that team mentality.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome, man. That's amazing, and that's very mature for again somebody his age, because a lot of folks would have just jumped at the chance of going up
Yeah.
there. But
Oh,
I
and
think
Drake,
yeah, it's Drake, yeah. But I think Wemby is so mature beyond his years, and he knows the I think that's just a special thing. The whole, hey, if my teammates can't come, I'm not going to go up there. That's really cool. I think that's really cool.
Yeah, man, that really is cool. And look at Midtown, Texas puts Robert Pulido gonna call Duncan up on Fiesta stage and not Mike, because everybody's making fun of Mike because they're saying
Yeah, the dog.
that Duncan has more gangster in him than Mike does. It's the Chicana Fuertes in here too. She just put
Yeah.
much crap his team would have taken and would have talked if he did accept the invitation. Yeah, if he would have accepted, he'd be like, hey man, I was here too, dog. Why didn't you get me on stage? So it was a good move by Wemby, dude. Nonetheless.
Yeah, well, and people talk about a Drake curse, right? People, he was over with
rough.
Kentucky and all that stuff. Hey, maybe Wemby was like, yeah, I'm not. Either way, it's a cool story. It's a cool it's just it's a cool gesture, and it shows you the way he thinks, and stuff like that. So yeah, I saw that article. I thought that was pretty cool.
Hey, so before we start getting into our talk here, that me and you both love, which is going to be boxing, we're gonna go ahead and give some love here to one of our boys, man, out there working in the field today. We're gonna give some love to MCS General Contracting. MCS General Contracting, more than 30 years of combined experience in concrete placement. They are the best in the business. Honest pricing, high quality work. They get going on house foundations, driveways, concrete patio decks. If you want to extend the deck, extend the driveway. If you're a business and you need to put together a slab, a parking lot, or other concrete placement services or sidewalks, reach out to MCS General Contracting at 210-774-9155. They're confident in their skills, so give Chris Leja over at MCS General Contracting a call at 210-774-9155. And thank you for being a sponsor of this show. Yeah, so shout out to our boy Christopher Leja, laying down that diamond hard concrete, baby, out there in the field today.
Hardest working, man. In the business. Yeah.
Oh, man. So what we're going to talk about next is something that we like, we love. You know, we're going to be talking about that boxing talk. You know, this is where you shine here, doggy. So
this is your corner, this excites me, man.
So I'm going to tell you something, dude, that I found here, man. And it was wild to me because I'm like, this is really happening. So you're a Cowboys fan like me, right? We're diehard Cowboys fans. We've been there since the beginning. I mean, we're basically, we didn't have a choice. Your family is a Cowboy fan. If you're in San Antonio, you're going to be a Cowboy fan. So we have Cowboys, Micah Parsons, dude. And he's taking body shots, dude. This is insane, dude. If you're the coaching staff or Jerry, what do you think about this? I'm gonna play the video because this is wild, man. So they're taking body shots to see who's gonna tap out first, right? So Micah Parsons is hitting this boxer, right? And he's just hitting the he's taking and he's like, all right. So then he hits Micah Parsons with that body shot. He's like, hey, time out. You know, that's a hit, dude. He's just putting himself out there exposed, you know. I mean, what do you think? You Cowboys fan? You see him doing this? I mean,
hey, that's like some body hardening, man. You know what I mean? Like that's like he needs to he might need to implement that in his training regimen. You know, that's tough, man. Yeah, that's a tough one to do, bro. Because I tell you what, I don't care how big and how bad you are, man. You take that liver shot, bro. It's a wrap, bro. It's a wrap. I'm telling you, man. I've taken that shot, man. You go to a knee, bro. You go to a knee, and your mind is telling you to get up, and you're trying to get up, and your body physically won't. Like you're like temporarily paralyzed, like from the body shots, bro.
Those body shots are nasty. I mean, it takes it stuns you so bad. You're like you said, your mind is you're up in your mind, like your mind.
Your mind is your mind. You're up. Your mind. You're standing, but. You look around, you're like, oh damn, I'm on the floor. Like,
my body's not working, man. I'm trying to get up, dog. You know, and you can't.
No,
it's
real talk.
If you've never been hit with one of those,
it just shut down, bro. Man. It just
it rocks you to your core, bro. It does. So the other thing we're gonna see here is we're gonna see a nice gesture by one Oscar De La Hoya from Golden Boy Productions, you know, our promotions. So Oscar. And I'm going to go ahead and just keep this on mute here, and I'll play the video, though. But Oscar went ahead and gifted both Haney and Ryan Garcia these custom leather jackets, dude. He gave one each, you know. I thought that was pretty cool. I mean, I'm sure these jackets set him back a whole bunch of cash, you know, but.
He's got money. Oscar's got money. Yeah.
He got that money, dude. But, I mean, I thought that was pretty cool, you know. I guess he's just trying to promote the fight and hype it up and whatnot, you know.
Man, these press conferences have been pretty wild, man.
Man.
Ryan has definitely been on one.
Ryan, dude, they showed an excerpt from one with Ryan, right? And he's like, "Thank you, Jesus, thank you, Jesus, thank you, Jesus." And then right away at the end, he's talking about putting his, you know what, in somebody's mouth. I'm like, bro, how do you go from the beginning of the press conference, to saying something that offensive? You know, at the very end, I'm just like, and then Ryan went on to like TikTok. I don't know if everybody's seen it or not. He was on TikTok and he looked like he was on something, dude. It ain't the cocoa that he's on. He's definitely on something. I don't know if it's like prescription, drugs or something, but I mean, like, it's the thing is like we're talking, right? So is Ryan doing this as a publicity stunt, trying to make Haney lapse and be like, oh, this guy's just, you know, not taking this serious, and then try to surprise him? or is Ryan definitely doing something, dude? What do you think?
Yeah, I've seen both theories out there. I've seen people say, yeah, like Ryan is a master genius, and he's getting into Devin's head, and he's doing all this to sell the fight, and it's the art of war, and it's the Sun Tzu art of war type stuff, right? But man, I tell you, if that's the case, then he really is a really good actor. And then if that's the case, he needs to have like an Academy Award for this stuff. Because that it's just insane. We've both watched boxing for a long time. I've seen people have antics. I've seen people sell fights. This is something else though, man. And I do think something's off with him, man. I really do. I don't know what his deal is.
Mario Cavazos, the jackets were from Temu.
It's $2.99.
Yeah.
$2.99. Yeah, man. I don't know, man. It's really it's actually. I mean, I know it's entertaining and it's wild to see it, but like when you look at it a little bit deeper, it's kind of sad, man. Because I'm just thinking to myself, like, I don't know what he's going through or what's going on with him, but I don't know, man. I was worried that this fight wouldn't happen. I was worried that he wasn't gonna make it to Brooklyn. Here we are the day before. The weigh-in are supposed to be today. Well, yeah, still might not make weight. That's a whole nother thing, right? Devin told him that he would bet him $500K or something like per pound. He's over and all this kind of stuff. Ryan might not make weight. Speaking of weight, I will say something to keep an eye on. Devin looks a little drained. Like if you see Devin in the press conferences, his face looks a little weight drained. And he might have struggled to make weight. That could be a factor in the fight, depending on things. But I will say that Devin looks a little weight drained. If you look at and see his face, like his body is probably maturing into a higher weight. But as a lot of these fighters do, as we know, they cut weight, right? A lot of them walk around at 20, 30 pounds above their fighting weight. You know what I mean? So they really rocked him. Yeah. I mean, hey, look, man. He was in a tough fight with Tank, and he was, again, he took that body shot. He wasn't acting like this with Tank. I remember that for a fact. Like I said, I've met him before out here in San Diego. What's that?
He respected the power of Tank.
Yeah. No. And like I said, I met him out here actually one time in San Diego, and it was years ago. And he was a really nice kid, really nice guy, friendly. Again, I don't know, man. Things change, man. You have people in your circles. Got a couple of baby mamas. I don't know. He's got a lot going on. He's got a lot going on. And yeah, Oscar being around probably doesn't help because Oscar is back and forth too. Again, from the boxing standpoint, having a guy like Derek James in his corner now, who is rose to fame as a trainer for Errol Spence is good because Derek James is a really, really good trainer. So having him in your corner is a plus for Ryan. Yeah, man, I don't know. Again, I don't know if it's antics just to sell the fight.
Something's amiss with Ryan, bro. I
will say another thing that I thought about this fight. I'm not a fan of it being in Brooklyn. And no offense to Brooklyn. I think Brooklyn is an amazing fight city. Yeah, Vegas or LA. I don't know, man. I think this fight to me has a West Coast feel to it. I think it would have killed in LA, at the Crypto or something, or of course Vegas. When I heard it was assigned for Brooklyn, I kind of was surprised. I don't know. I just, to me, because from my understanding, the ticket sales aren't where they need to be at either. Like the live gate isn't selling that well. I don't know. I think this is a West Coast fight. I think LA would have been a better venue, or Vegas, of course, but.
Oh, look at Ruben Espinosa.
Oh, man. We will be in San Diego June 7th for our niece's grad from Marine Corps Boot Camp. Hit me up, dog. Ruben, I work at the Recruit Depot where the Marine Corps Boot Camp is. DM me, reach out to me, and let's talk, bro, so I can get you hooked up. Real talk. Absolutely. Congratulations. That's amazing.
You're a man of the people, man. Man of the people.
Yeah, I try to be, man. And that's why I always tell people, I said, if you come to San Diego, this is my second home. I've been out here. I've been out in SoCal for about 10 years, man. So This is like my second home. So if you guys are ever out here in San Diego, reach out to me. I'll definitely show you around. And I'm only going to be here for so much longer. So, you know what I mean? You got to enjoy it.
Okay, so I'm going to show you a little thing on the screen right here. And this is from Matchroom Boxing. And it's Eddie Hearn. He's saying, in my opinion, Devin is the face of this sport for years to come. You know, and that's from
Yeah,
Eddie
yeah,
Hearn. Of course, he's gonna
yeah.
do that. You know,
Okay. I love Eddie Hearn, by the way.
yeah,
I'll tell you what, Eddie Hearn is probably the best promoter in boxing right now.
no doubt.
And what I love about Eddie Hearn is he is not afraid to put his fighters against other fighters and other promotions and them to lose, right? Eddie Hearn did a lot of work with Canelo, and a lot of those European fighters were his like star guys in Europe, because Eddie Hearn's British, right? I mean, people don't know. And Matchroom was a small British company back in the day, and it has grown substantially. And Eddie Hearn was putting his British stars against Canelo and his European stars, and not afraid to. A lot of companies don't want their fighters to lose, so they don't put them in with certain fighters. So, but Eddie Hearn definitely is a good promoter. He's a great promoter. But yeah. He might be, stretching a little bit when he says Devin Haney's the face of boxing. Again, Devin is a master class boxer. Devin is amazing, but I think Devin still has trouble selling tickets. Like people, I mean, and I don't mean that disrespectfully. Most folks don't know who Devin Haney is. Your average, more people know who Ryan Garcia is now. Whether that's for the right or the wrong reasons, I'm just talking about from a marketing ticket standpoint, right? And that's another thing people have to realize. There's all these different facets of things, right? So if you're looking at it from just a marketing, selling tickets and selling the fight, Ryan is the one selling the fight with all this craziness and antics. And whether you like it or not, or agree with it or not, your average casual, exactly. Your average casual fan is like, wow, I need to see this. Like, I don't even know anything about boxing, but I need to see this Ryan Garcia guy because he's crazy, or whatever. Devin is a master boxer. He's a purist. But if you walk to high boxing IQ. The kid is amazing. Don't get me wrong. But if you go to your average person out in the street and ask them if they know who Devin Haney is, most probably don't. So they're boxing just like any other sport, but boxing is particularly there. You have to sell too. Like, you could be a really good fighter, but if you can't sell, you can't put asses in seats, it's not going to matter. You know what I mean? And that's always a thing. And that's where the promotion company comes in.
That's star quality. That's star
exactly,
power.
Exactly. And I'm not saying Devin can't get there, but to say he's the face right now, I think to me, Canelo is still the face of boxing, in my opinion. Like it or not. But when you talk about face of boxing, to me, when you say the face of boxing, that means that, in my opinion, that you could go to a casual, average person that may not know anything about boxing, and they know who Canelo Alvarez is. They know who Manny Pacquiao was. They know who Floyd was, right?
They know who Tank is.
Exactly. They know who Tank is. To me, Tank is more of a face of boxing, quote unquote, than Devin is right now. Now, I'm not saying that Devin can't beat Tank. That's not, I'm not saying, because I think Devin has the skill set to probably beat Tank Davis.
Doesn't have the power,
in my opinion. He doesn't have the power, but I think he has the boxing, the moving, the jabbing, the whatever. It depends on what kind of fight it's going to be, right? But point I'm trying to make is, even if Devin beat Tank, people still know Tank more. So when you talk about the face of boxing, quote unquote, to me, that's more than just you're the best boxer. It's you're the guy that sells, you're the guy that people know.
Got that charisma. Kind of stuff.
Yeah, exactly. And like talking about Ryan Garcia, right? I've seen people say like, oh, he's like a YouTube fighter, he's a TikTok guy. You got to remember, Ryan Garcia was a very, very accomplished amateur boxer. The dude was like 215 and 15 as an amateur, which is insane. Like, that's an insane record for an amateur boxer. He was like a 15-time national champion. Like, the kid has an amateur boxing background. Like, he's not a YouTube TikTok fighter. Now, what I think happened is, over time, he's become more into the entertainment side of things, like the YouTube and the TikTok and all that kind of stuff. But to say that he's, like a YouTube fighter or a TikTok, I think that's a wrong thing to say about him. Like I said, he was 215 and 15 as an amateur, which is that's insane. Devin was also a very accomplished amateur. So they both have backgrounds in boxing. They've been boxing since they were 8-9 years old.
Mario Cavazos.
Mario Barrios that rose up.
No,
Hey, our boy Mario Barrios will be fighting on the undercard of Canelo and Jaime Munguia, which is pretty exciting, man. That's pretty exciting.
Hey, so let's go ahead and put this up here on the screen too. We're gonna go ahead and show this next little excerpt here that I found. Checking out the X and all that. This one was about the WBC. The WBC, they've created a new special WBC Talupias belt, and it will be awarded to the winner of the Canelo Alvarez and Jimmy Munguia a fight on the May the 4th. So this is a new belt, that they created for the event. So What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it looks cool. It looks cool. WBC, does a lot of those belts, and they do these things for these big fights. So it looks cool, looks awesome. But at the end of the day, man, getting in the ring is what matters. You know what I'm saying,
Yeah,
right?
no
Getting in the
doubt.
ring. But I'll tell you what, though, that Canelo Jaime Munguia fight, I know everybody wants to see David Benavidez, and I'm hoping that will be for September. But the Canelo and Munguia is going to be fun. It's going to be a fun fight. Munguia is a young, strong kid who's going to bring all the action. It's going to be fun. But
I have
yeah, man,
a lot of people that hate on Canelo. They don't like Canelo.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a boring fight. He's gonna go ahead and be able to dispatch Munguia, with no problem and all this. And I'm just like,
but
hey,
you notice you're hearing that a lot recently.
Yeah.
A couple of years ago, that wasn't the case. I'll tell you that right now. You go back a few years ago, and everybody loved Canelo. Bro, I'm telling you, I got so much hate when he fought Floyd, because I'm a Floyd guy. People know that. I was following Floyd back in the '96 Olympics, right? So I've always been a Floyd guy. I had the TNT shirts, and my raza wanted the money team. My raza wanted to disown me, man, because I was a Floyd guy, And when he fought Canelo, I was pulling for Floyd. Everybody thought I was crazy, and people loved Canelo when he was coming up and when he was winning and all that kind of stuff. You never heard a bad thing about Canelo, but it's just the evolution of fighters, right? Now that Canelo, people love
villain.
yeah. Most people love the up and coming and the I came from nowhere and I'm hardcore. Like, again, you could trace this to De La Hoya. You could trace this to Sugar Ray Leonard. You could trace this to a lot of fighters right throughout the time. People love when they're coming up and they see that, they started from nothing and now they're here, now they're blah. But when they get to a certain point, now it's like, you're too big. I don't like that. You know what I mean? I don't like you being that big, right? So you start to get the criticism, right? And that's where Canelo is now, where I've heard so much criticism about Canelo that I never heard back in the day. I heard people loved Canelo back in the day. Whether it's fair or not fair, it's just the nature of the beast. But I've definitely heard a lot of criticism about Canelo, and like I've talked about before, when you get to become a certain stature of boxing, you do get a little bit more say in who you fight and who you don't fight. Call it what you want. I mean, Floyd did it, Pacquiao did it, Oscar did it, Sugar Ray Leonard did it, Muhammad Ali did it. Like Tyson, Tyson did it. Like people love to talk about these fighters, but don't realize like all these other fighters did the same thing. You just probably weren't aware of it because there was no Twitter and TikTok and all this other stuff. But
now there is, everybody's
now everything's magnified. Everything's so magnified,
Hey, I like this comment too by Ruben Espinosa. Thank you, by the way, for watching, man. We greatly appreciate it, dude, and interacting with us. He says, I love that you all read comments and are about la gente. It makes us feel part of the familia. Even Jimenez, great, even though he plays the heel on the air, we respect that. We read the comments, and that's what it's about. The show.
I love reading the comments. I love reading the comments. Right, like I have it on I'm on my iPad right now, so I set it up to where I could see all the comments right here, even the ones before you post them. And I love reading the comments. Look at my baby says, "Stay long enough to start to become the villain." That's true. That's true. I'll tell you what, man. You either die a young hero or you grow to be an old villain. You know what I'm saying? Like that. That's the way it goes, man. I don't know what's better. You die a hero or you grow up to be a monster, right? Jimenez plays the high heel. That's funny.
Oh man, these guys are on something today, man. It's funny. I like reading these comments.
No,
it's what
I do too.
Yeah.
So
if you put a comment in here, believe me, man, I'm looking at them and I'm going to put them on here. I'm just trying to go ahead and get to everything. So I'm going to show an excerpt too that I found, a little clip here of Canelo. And he was talking on Premier Boxing Champions on their X. And he was saying, they asked him, what's your favorite punch? And he said it was his overhand right. That's his favorite punch. That's the one that he usually always connects, and puts people down, because they keep catching him. When he catches them sleeping. He works the body, He lets them get tired. He's on defense, most of the fight. Very methodical, high boxing IQ. Hate Canelo all you want. But if you hate him so much, you got to beat him in order to be the man. You got to beat the man. And he gets them sleeping, dude. And right when they get that little lapse in coverage where they make that mistake. Here comes the overhand right. Boom. Yeah. Good night.
I tell you what, man. One of the deadliest overhand rights I saw him land was to James Kirkland, who So James Kirkland, if those who don't know, he's a fighter out of Austin, right? Very well accomplished amateur fighter out of Austin. I actually fought him in the amateurs a lot when I was coming up. James Kirkland was one of our top Texas amateurs back in the day, and he was a lefty, right? A little stocky a kid, and I fought him in the amateurs a couple of times, and he went on and became a pro and fought and a really good fighter. He had wars with like Alfredo Angulo and a couple other fighters, and he fought Canelo in Houston.
Just play the video so you can see it as well.
Yeah, but man, Canelo landed that overhand right that put him to sleep. Man.
There you go, man. There's that overhand right. It's nasty.
Yeah. And what Canelo does too is he'll do like because he definitely like likes to throw that left to the body. He'll kind of like do that like fake. And that's how he throws that overhand. Like, you know what I'm saying? He'll like do that fake touch and come over. And yeah, it's a wrap.
Man. We call that shot. On my way.
On my way. Exactly.
You already got her talking like you, bro.
Oh, bro, she's amazing, man. She's amazing, man. I'll tell you what. If you don't follow Chicana Fuerte on Twitter, please follow her. She's amazing. She's got a lot of big things coming with her camera, the way she captures things, with her Fuerte Productions. So please follow her. Yeah, man. Let me tell you, it's gonna be a good fight this weekend. Ryan Garcia and Devin is gonna be an exciting fight. I will say this, man. I'm not a big fan of the undercard. I mean, it's nothing. I mean, not to say that there won't be good fights. You got Arnold Barboza on the undercard. He's the co-main. He's a good up and coming guy, undefeated. But there's no big names on the undercard. There's no names that stand out at you. Sometimes the zone does have a tendency to put on not so good undercards. That's one thing I will say that I feel like PBC does put on better undercard. But needless to say, again. And I'm a boxing junkie, and I look at that undercard, and some of those names I don't even know them. I've never heard of these guys, but not to say they won't be good fights, because a lot of times you'll be surprised. You watch these, like we've talked about in the past. Those guys are just they're getting the big stage on a pay-per-view undercard, so they're going to give it their all. So not to say that there won't be good fights. I'm just saying from a standpoint of like who they are and name fighters, there's really no one on that undercard that stands out. So really the big thing is Ryan and Devin. So.
She kind of put it. She said she was saying that before, Rick. That's why they fell in love. She grew up. She had a lot of brothers, so she knows,
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Probably heard that term flying around all over the place.
Oh yeah. She definitely don't play. But yeah, man. No, man. It's definitely a big weekend of boxing, man. I'm excited. It's gonna be.
I am too, man. I'm gonna be watching that fight, and if it's good weather, I'll probably be watching it outside in my backyard on the projector again.
Yeah, man, 420. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's
the only thing that sucks is that I got to go to work the next day on Sunday, so I can have fun, right? But I can't have too much fun.
Yeah.
But this Michael Benson quote, we'll go ahead and end the show with this here. The WBA, they have declared that Edgar Berlanga is now Canelo Alvarez WBA mandatory challenger for his undisputed super middleweight world titles. What do you think, man?
For those who don't know Edgar Berlanga, he's a strong Puerto Rican fighter, good young up and coming fighter. The kid is the beast. He really is. If you see him fight, man, that dude is a beast. He's a knockout artist. I don't think he's ready for Canelo yet, in my opinion. But it would be. I don't think he's ready, but it'll be entertaining. That's for sure. And that would sell. That would be a big Puerto Rican Mexico rivalry and all that kind of stuff. But I think the kid's a little still green for Canelo, but he's an up and comer, man. He's a hard hitting guy. So
he's earned the right,
Yeah, for some reason the Benavidez fight doesn't get made, and I know people are going to get upset, but that wouldn't be a bad backup of Berlanga if the Benavidez fight doesn't get made. There's a lot of excitement in boxing, man. Like I always say. People have been saying for years that boxing is dead, boxing was going to die, and it's still kicking, bro. At the end of the day, there's nothing like a big fight. And again, I'm admittedly not a UFC guy. I made it a point to not be a UFC guy when it first burst on the scene because I had so many boxing fans turn to UFC. I literally had like a silent protest to not be in the UFC. So like I'm not a UFC guy. I'm just telling you. But I don't have I have no issue with it. But what I'm saying is, people say boxing's dead. I don't like boxing, blah, blah, blah. But I'll tell you what, when there's a big fight, it comes around, a Canelo fight, or the Ryan fight this weekend, people always get together, man, and watch it. That's always a thing. Yeah, that's always going to be a thing, man, especially in our communities as a raza, bro. Like, we grew up watching Chavez, man. We grew up watching, Alexis Arguello, these Mexican fighters, man, that captivated us, man. So to us, it's not it's a family gathering when it comes to a big boxing match. You know what I'm saying? So boxing's alive and well, man.
It is, man. That's the thing. I did see UFC 300, and I thought it was great. The whole card was stacked from the undercards to the main events. I mean, it was a night. That's the night. If you're a UFC fan, you're gonna want to watch that because it's all these great fighters being put together on this massive card. It's like watching the Super Bowl, but it's all UFC fighters. Great. Even the main event, man, amazing, dude, amazing. So I loved watching it all. I mean, me and my friend Jonas were watching in the backyard on the projector, man, and we're up there yelling and screaming and everything. Had a little fire going, just to kind of keep the mosquitoes away from you. If San Antonio, get flies and all that stuff, man. But just enjoying the night, having some drinks, watching the fights, dude. It was great. Looking forward to doing that again tonight. Not tonight, but tomorrow night. Watching the Haney Garcia fight. So hopefully it's a good showing. I want this to live up to the billing. I kind of want it to go the distance, but I also wouldn't be mad if Haney went ahead and put Ryan to sleep right away. Because like I said, man, when somebody says something, you believe them, And when Haney says, hey, this has gotten personal, man. We're not going to be friends after this fight. We're going to get into the fight. I'm not going to be going, hey, man, where it's all good, respect. No, none of that. It's all business for Haney. So I believe him, dude. When he says he wants to hurt Garcia and he wants to put him out quickly, I believe the man when he said it, So good fight nonetheless, dude. Who do you got? I got to ask you, man.
Yeah, man. Like I said, I agree with you. I think Devin is a master boxer. He can jab, he can move. He's kind of in that mode of a Floyd, a younger Floyd, where he kind of does. He has 15 knockouts and 31 wins, so he doesn't have knockout power per se, but he has pinpoint accuracy, and he can just outbox you, 120 to 109 in rounds, like basically 12-0. He could. I think Ryan has made it kind of personal, and I think I think it's going to start kind of slow. Like they're gonna kind of feel each other out a little bit or whatever. But then it's gonna heat up. It's gonna heat up like in the third round or so, And I think Ryan wants to land one of those quick left hooks. He's twitchy fast. He really is. Ryan has the tools, he has the reach, he has all that. I just don't think he uses it to his advantage because he wants to just go in there and start throwing, and then his defense is not there. But with Derrick James, maybe he's improved. I don't know. We will see. But I don't, Haney is not a knockout guy, but I can see him going in there and trying to stop Ryan, and I wouldn't be surprised if it's I think it'd probably be a Haney decision win, but I would love to see a late stoppage for Haney.
Look at what Sid says. Sid Elias, he says, if Ryan doesn't put him away within 3, it's over. Because Haney's going to take him the distance, man.
Yeah, Haney, and again, Haney is a smart boxer, and to be honest, trading with Ryan is Ryan's only chance, or not only chance, but his
in the
biggest
middle
chance.
Of the ring,
so in the middle of the ring, exchanges. So I mean, if I'll tell you what, this is to Ryan's advantage if Haney does go to war with him, because Haney's style is to box and move and jab, but if he wants to make a statement, stopping Ryan, that the Tank stopped Ryan right with the body shot in the 7th round or so. So if Haney does that, it'll be, hey, I'm on part 2 with Tank.
Tank make that look easy, dude. He bred Ryan like a book, and credit to his training staff. I mean, they had Tank ready to go. It's like he knew Ryan's moves before Ryan was even going to do anything. He was like reading his body, reading that footwork, because it wasn't like he was looking at Ryan too much, the body. He was more looking at his footwork, and he knew when Ryan's going to do this, I'm going to duck. He would just smile, going right underneath it, come back up, boom, boom, do a combo, hit him with the body. And that's how he got him. He caught him reaching, knocked him with that body shot, rocked him, put him down. And that's all she wrote. But I mean, Tank has a high basketball IQ too. And his team, they had Tank ready for this fight. I think Haney's team, they have him ready for this fight. He's locked in and he's focused. It's going to be great, man. The thing with Ryan, though, is that Ryan's an emotional boxer. And when you get caught in your emotions the way Ryan does, where he just, he gets, they hit him and he might get knocked down and he comes back up. He's taking it personal now. So he just wants to go in there and just kind of like do brawling now. You're not boxing now. You're turning into a brawler because you're just going out there and you're just trying to put your head down and just throw punches. That's not good, dude, because when you're doing that, you're taking yourself out of the game. You need to go ahead and revert back to being a boxer. It's not always about the punches. It's always about playing defense and seeing what the other opposing boxer is going to give you And when they make
Yeah.
a mistake or there's a little opening when they're throwing that
Mhm.
jab and they're missing, you're going to counter. How are you going to counter? You know, always thinking about that next move. What am I going to lead them into? You know, what am I going to be setting them up for? And I think if Ryan had that in him, he would be a better boxer. But right now, he's still raw, young talent. I think he's still kind of learning. But I mean, if he can get his emotions in check when he gets out there in the ring, he can be pretty dangerous if you want it to be, you know. But
Mhm.
we'll see what type of Ryan we're going to get. That's the thing with Ryan Garcia. He's one of these guys that's unpredictable. You just don't know what fighter's going to show up, you know?
Yeah, no, for sure. I totally agree. I think he has the tools and to do it, but putting it together, like you said, it's mental, man. It's something
Yeah.
like you said. It's something. It's his emotions. It's everything. It's more of a mental thing. Physically, I mean, like I said, Ryan has the tools. He's tall. He's long. You know, he's fast. I'll tell you. I say he's twitchy fast. He has twitchy speed. Like the kid's got some sharp punches, but
Yeah.
mentally, man, there's something there that's kind of keeping him from putting it all together. Chicano Fuerte says, yeah, yeah, she's a big fight fan, man. She knows her boxing too, man. Like, so we love watching the fights together and talking them through because it ain't just like she's just watching a watch. Like she knows her stuff, man.
Yeah, me too, dude. Like when I'm watching the fights, I'm watching what these boxers are doing inside the ring. Like, how are they going
Yeah.
to counter? What are they doing? What are they reading? Looking at those angles. You know, boxing's always about those angles, dude. Getting that footwork. You're trying
Oh
to
yeah,
you have to get in the right angle in order to throw those punches, you know? So that's
absolutely,
the whole thing,
absolutely.
like a
Yeah,
chess game, you know, it's out there
it
and
is.
you're leading him. I was like, oh man, he's baiting him, baiting him, baiting him. He's getting him into that right position. And right when that boxer gets that opposing boxer in that right angle, that right position, they go ahead and unleash, you know, and usually it's deadly combo, dude. They're gonna put
Oh
him
yeah.
down. They could put him down. So I like watching that. I like watching the evolution of what happens throughout the fight from the beginning to the end. You know, so it's a better
Yeah.
the guy who gets the win is the one who outplayed the other one. It's not always with the power. It's just getting that right moment to get that attack, you know. And that's the
Yeah.
beauty about boxing is that when you get these fighters in the ring, even though both of them might have, you know, these accolades, you know, and they have the charisma and they have these press conferences, at the end of the day, when these fighters get in the ring, anything can happen, man. And that's the beauty of boxing as a
Yeah.
sport.
Yeah, and it's just them two in the ring, bro. You know, we love our basketball, we love our football, we love our other sports, right? But there's, there's five guys on the court, on one side. There's however many, 11 or whatever, right on a football field, whatever. In that boxing ring, dog, you can have a good team, you can have a good trainer, you can have a good promoter, you can have whatever, you can have Drake walk you down to the aisle if you want, dog, right? But when that bell rings, man,
It's
two
on.
one-on-one, bro. It's one-on-one. And yeah, so it's beautiful, man. And I'll tell you, I love all the like pomp and circumstance around a big fight. Like I love all the nuances, the ring walks, the anthems, like all that stuff,
The
man. Like
entrances,
like I love all that stuff, man.
the
Like I'm telling
outfit.
you, no, I'm serious, man. Like there's just something about a big boxing fight that like it just excites you right before, right, when you see the anthems and the ring walks and just all that, man. Like it's fun, man. It's I love it, man. Like I said, and maybe it just brings me to my childhood because I grew up watching, or as a lot of us did,
Yeah.
the Chavezes and all that. But yeah, I love all those nuances, man. It's fun. So I'm excited. It's gonna be a fun weekend. I'm gonna watch it with my sons. Like I said, I got Haney. Probably by decision, but I would love to see Haney go in for the kill and stop Ryan. I wouldn't mind seeing Ryan get a couple on Haney. It'd be fun to see,
Yeah.
it'll be fun if Ryan catches him a little bit and see, because Haney, he's a good defensive fighter. But he's been caught, Vasily Lomachenko gave him a hell of a fight, which
Yeah.
is not some people thought he lost that fight. Some people thought Devin Haney lost the fight to Lomachenko, which is no shame. I mean, Lomachenko is one of the greatest fighters of our time, but I thought he eked it out, but Devin is he can get caught, he's not no one is indestructible, and at the end of the day, like if Ryan is focused and knows what he wants and it stays to his game plan. If Derek James, like I said, to me, the Derek James thing is an X factor because he's a really good coach, really good trainer. He came up with Errol Spence, and if Devin is weight trained, who knows, but we'll see, we'll see. It's gonna be an exciting weekend.
Oh, definitely, dude. So we're gonna go ahead and bring this episode to a close here. But I want to go ahead and thank you for being such a gracious guest on the show today. Being my
Yeah, man.
guest co-host because
I
Mike
appreciate it, bro.
Jimenez was not able to join us today. he had some emergency that popped up here, so he'll be back on the following week. Not next week because he's going to be out of town, but the following week he'll be back on and hosting again. So you can go ahead and follow Rick over here at Real Spurnandez on the X. And not only is he a boxing guru, he's also a Spurs fan, and he curates content. With his counterpart here, Chicana Fuerte. So she has her vision of making Rick and look good in these videos, because like she's always with you
She
taking those
does.
videos and all
She
that.
does. She
And
does. She cap.
she does
Yeah.
great work, dude. She does great work.
She does. She does. She captures my good side, man. Which it's not always hard. It's not always hard to. It's not always easy to see my good side. You know what I'm saying? So she has a knack for seeing it and
Tells you to
capturing
stop
it. So.
moving, man. That's the thing she's like.
I know, man.
Moving.
I know. I'm always I'm jittery, man. I'm always like
Yeah.
bam, 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 bam. So but yeah, man. I'm actually looking to be out there the weekend of the Canelo fight. I get next
Nice.
weekend, so I'm looking to be out of San Antonio that weekend. So hopefully I could be in studio. And I'll let you know for sure. But that's the plan. The plan is to be out there next weekend, watch the fight to Canelo, and hang out in San Antonio for a little bit. So.
That'd be dope, dude. Maybe we gotta hit up Bart Gimme, man.
Oh, we have to, man. Shout out to my man Aaron, man. Gimme, and Amor, and he owns those bars, man. He's a good dude. Now Gimme. I'm telling you, man, them Brussels sprouts. You know what I'm saying? That I'm telling you, I know. Don't knock it, man. They're
telling me,
bro.
man.
Yeah, no, man. Gimme has some good food, man. They got a lot of, like, wing specials, steak nights. They got all kinds of stuff, man. So if you're ever in Southtown, man, by all means, you got to hit up Gimme. And it's a nice vibe. It's a nice atmosphere.
Yeah, man. All right. So we're going to go ahead and bring the show to an end. Again, you can follow me on Two Shots Podcast on the X. If you want to go ahead and follow Michael Jimenez, you can go and follow him under MJ Acquired Taste on the X. So that's about all we have for today, man. Thank you. And shout out to Real
appreciate you having me, man. Thank you, guys. Thanks for all the listeners.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Thanks to the listeners. Thanks to everybody who was, giving us a lot of these comments, man, today. They're making the show go, man. We appreciate you guys' support. So we look forward to seeing you guys on Monday. So until then, dude, we're out. Peace. Have a good weekend, boys. We out.